A happy Thursday morning to you. Welcome to the EST Hangout presented by Mott's Clamato. Caesar available in both original and variety 12 packs. Iwanyk, Tom Gazzola with you here once again. Joining us today, as he does every Thursday, Joaquin Gage of Two Guys and a Goalie and Hot Takes Judge now. Sir, what is it? The Honorable Joaquin Gage. And Tom Vernon returning to the Hangout. Crestview Strategies, former TV guy. Last time you were on, the Oilers were in a bad spot.
Big news, yeah.
And things have kind of turned around there. But Gager, how was being the judge of hot takes for the first time?
Stressful, very stressful. It was a rough morning trying to get here, minus 30.
Yeah.
Battling traffic, getting my daughter to school, and then and getting in just in the nick of time. But I got to say, YouTube Trev, that was impressive because he's the he's kind of the Zach Hyman of EST, where on the niceness factor, like or even a Jack Campbell, so to hear him kind of rip Dusty, I think that's because I've never heard him say a bad word about anyone. He loves everyone and say there's pleases and thank yous and apologizes for nothing. For him to rip into the CEO of Edmonton Sports Talk, I think that's what kind of swayed my vote, so to speak.
That was hilarious. I'm not gonna lie.
The mustache one was pretty good too, with the duster he has going too. It seems like it's getting longer. We got to get him some wax.
He wants to curl it.
Yeah, okay.
I think he said before he's curled it.
Yeah. Oh,
so
really?
He wants to get it to that level where he can curl it again.
Yeah.
So the Erik Karlsson, Forsberg,
Wyatt Earp.
Yeah. Wyatt Earp. Great.
I'm
I
watching a lot of
mustache
Tombstone
like that.
lately.
Have you?
Yeah, it's a good movie.
Great movie.
Yeah.
Never seen it.
I
What?
haven't seen that one, no.
What?
Sweet. I'm not alone on this one, finally.
Yeah.
Go
Holy
with Tombstone instead of Wyatt Earp. They came out 1 year after the
I
other.
never even heard of the other
One's
one.
with Kevin Costner.
Yeah,
the
don't
other's
watch
Kurt
that one.
Go with the Kurt Russell, Val Kilmer one.
And the Kevin Costner when he tried to do the Dances with Wolves, it's like 20 hours long too.
Oh, yeah, way
It's
too long.
awful.
He-
Just terrible.
Shootout at the OK
Dusty
Corral.
just heard that I never seen Tombstone. He's all, I can hear it in the room.
It's a
Oh, I never seen
masterpiece.
Tombstone. Yeah, no. I actually, honestly, until a few months ago, never even heard of it.
Yeah.
Oh,
Really?
Won't even lie. Until they started Tombstone Tuesday, I didn't even hear.
I just want Trev to go to a bar and tell a girl he's going to be their Huckleberry. It'll work brilliantly.
Yeah. Well, not if they're like Iwanyk and haven't seen the movie.
Oh, yeah. That's a good point.
the line's a little old, right?
Oh, look at this guy quoting Tombstone. No, they'll be like, what does that mean? That's so cute. And then Trev's like, let me take you out on the dance floor. And boom, bing, bam. With his moves.
It'd be
Look out.
great if she responded with "skin that smoke wagon" and see what happens.
Oh, sorry, inside jokes.
Okay, whatever.
Maybe that should be another like side podcast of EST, dating tips with Tom Gazzola. 15
No.
minutes once a week.
No, no.
Submit your questions and
No.
and Tommy will help you out.
That would
at
become a friend of EST.
Well, it's full EST show. Look how easy you made that sound. And then Trev will go do it and have a great night, and
What's
you've got
that
all
line?
the answers.
I've got plenty. It's Peter Venkman. I've got all kinds of new cheap moves. Ghostbusters too. Yeah.
Oh, you're a big Ghostbusters
Love
guy
Ghost.
too, yeah.
I'm very excited. March 22nd,
New one.
Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. Check it out in theaters.
Doesn't that trailer look
Amazing.
so good?
Thank you,
Yes,
Tom.
Yes.
I knew I liked you. Great first name. Excellent broadcaster, reporter for many years, and also a fan of Ghostbusters.
Ghostbusters aficionado. Yeah.
We need him on more.
March 22nd, March 23rd.
23rd? Okay.
You said it comes out on the 22nd?
Oh, you're on 23rd.
Recap. What are you saying?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yes.
let's have it in the recap.
Okay.
Let's go.
We're doing it.
We'll do the full movie review.
Yes, we will.
I'll let you guys just take over, and I'll sit here.
Tom's right, though. The trailer looks amazing.
It does.
Yeah.
That last one was so fun.
Yeah.
And I like the all-female cast one too. I've loved all the Ghostbusters. Like that one was just the humor
First
in it.
strike.
Oh, come on. I loved it. It was,
Great cast.
Yeah.
Terrible writing.
oh, sure. But it was funny. I don't know.
Well, you know who was good? Thor.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, he was.
Hemsworth
Yeah.
was awesome in it.
He was.
Yeah.
He made it tolerable, I thought.
I don't know. Every time it's on, I watch. It was on a couple weeks ago, and I
Yeah.
watched it again. Yeah.
Bad guy was kind of.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. All right. You know what? I still like you, Tom.
Can't be perfect.
Almost.
Is it the same cast, like from the originals, the Ghostbusters, or that's like it's new people?
They right out of the gate revealed that Ernie Hudson, Bill Murray, and Dan Aykroyd are back. Hopefully, we get Rick Moranis and Annie Potts again. Annie Potts was in the afterlife. But Rick Moranis, man, he's gone through some hard times in his life.
Yeah.
And he's kind of stepped away from
Really?
performing. Yeah, I think he released like an album, like a folk album or something.
Yeah, well, he left acting because his wife passed away, so he just went home to be a dad.
Yeah.
And he was gone for 30 years, however long it's been, right? And then came back in that, what is it, Cricket Mobile commercial or whatever. The first time anyone had seen him in forever, and so.
What about Sigourney Weaver?
She was back. She had a small cameo at the end of the last one. And it was hilarious. Her and Pete Venkman got back together.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Good. I liked her in those first two.
She was great.
Yeah, she was good. Aliens. She did a little spin-off with Daredevil, too.
Really?
Oh, yeah. She was in the Daredevil, or it was called The Defenders, I think. It was with Iron Fist and Jessica Jones. She was kind of the bad guy in there. So, but that more Marvel side. So
She was in Avatar too, right?
yeah. I thought she was going to be in the next one.
She wasn't?
No, I thought there was a kind of be a spin-off of her
you
kind
seen
of coming
Avatar?
back.
I also have not seen Avatar. I was about to say.
Really?
I have never seen
What do
Avatar.
you watch? Or you just work all the time? Right. Never mind.
Well, I watch sports. I don't watch a lot of movies. I don't know. I don't go out and watch them a lot. Avatar was one. Honestly, one of the reasons I didn't watch Avatar, well, there's two reasons. One, it just became everyone was talking, but now it's good then. Like, it's just, I don't need to join in.
Yeah.
Two was South Park spoofed it. And I was like, I've seen it. To me, I feel like I've seen it. I'm good. They did the episode where they had Dances with Wolves. They spoofed Avatar and they spoofed Glenn Beck all in the same episode. It was a great, fantastic episode. And I was just like, I'm good. That 22 minutes did it for me.
Okay.
I'm fine.
Yeah. Avatar 1 was a bit of a ripoff of Dances with the Wolves, right?
Yes.
It's a ripoff of everything.
Yeah.
It's the same story.
And that's
over.
what South Park.
It's Pocahontas, the
poked
Disney
its
show.
fun.
Right.
Yeah.
It was brilliant. Remember when it came out? Did you see it, Tom, with the 3D glasses?
No, I didn't. Yeah.
It was cool, and I've never seen Dances with Wolves, so
No?
I've seen that one.
Yeah.
But
God, you guys. I mean, it's different for me as an aging hockey player. Back in the day, the amount of DVDs on the bus that I watched.
Right.
There's even my wife, when a movie will come on, I won't even be in the room, and I'll say a line from it. And she goes, "Why can't you use that in a way that will be better suited for our family?"
Better use for it. It's the
like-
same as like Eric, myself, a few other, like you could do Simpson quotes. A
Yeah.
snap of a finger, you could remember just the most random episode, but then to remember something actually important, no, not going to happen.
I need NZT from Limitless to remember that stuff.
Yes.
yeah.
I've seen that movie,
was a good
That's
and
a
I
good
know
one.
what that one is.
Okay, all right, good.
Yes.
Good. Solid movie there.
Big news from the sporting world as a guy running a team is out, and that's Gunther with Haas.
Yeah, it is.
Nothing bigger over the last 48 hours in sports. Okay, why is that happening, actually? Is he leaving or are they getting rid of him?
They're getting rid of him. From what I read
Really?
yesterday, it was because...
By the way, Tom got a video game this Christmas of F1.
I got 23. Yeah.
Really?
I've been playing 20 for years, and I got 23 for Christmas.
So manager or the actual game?
The actual game. Yeah, I
Okay,
didn't get
all right.
manager. I got the
Okay,
actual
yeah.
game. Yeah.
Yeah, I can't because I'll lawnmower man that thing and just go in and you'll never see me again. But no, I read it was sad. But look, it's a results-driven business, right? And
No pun
it hasn't been there. I think that it could be a possibility that the Drive to Survive kind of kept him alive a little bit because he was so willing to do things. He was kind of the life of the party with that show. But Haas hasn't performed well enough. You know, they've missed the ball. They started well, dropped behind, lost some ground at the end of the season. It looked like they could finish, in the probably 7-8 at a certain point. But I understand it. It'll be sad because nothing's like some Gunther Steiner quotes.
And what this does to the team is, it makes them completely irrelevant now.
Yeah.
Right. The only time we ever saw them during races was when they were being passed because they'd qualify well,
Yeah.
and then we'd see them get passed, and
Yeah.
you'd never hear any story about what Haas was doing.
Yeah.
It would always be, well, let's hear from Gunther afterwards.
Yeah.
And it would, it'd be the quotes of what happened and a funny line, and then off you go. And you all fine and good for the publicity that gets the team, but if you're not getting results, now unfortunately, if they don't have I don't know anything about their new incoming guy.
I tried to find something, but
he was on the engineering side, so he's on the design team that designed the car that eats tires. But I mean, I don't know if he's ever been interviewed or if he's going to be a good quote. Haas has, unless they become relevant on the track, there's not going to be a lot of relevance there with that team.
Did Gunther, like, I know he was so entertaining on Drive to Survive. I loved seeing him anytime they spoke with him on race weekend. Did he just become more of a caricature of himself? And I know he's the carbon fiber. That was his background, right? Like, part of that. Like, when it came down to actually managing the team and he wasn't busting people's chops and making these weird jokes, like, was he actually good at distributing workflow and dealing with the drivers and the engineers? Like, was he actually good at that? I don't know. All I know is Drive to Survive and what I would see in his short interviews in pit lane or heading into the race weekend.
I think his ability to do whatever it took for advertisement dollars, and you saw him sitting in Drive to Survive in little boats trying to get all this extra money coming into the team. So, and he was more recognizable, and I think there was part of that. But I mean, the full team, like just the car itself and the race pace just was never there. We saw Hülkenberg, like he was great on qualifying days. Like he would get to Q3 almost all the time consistently. Whereas you're on your fantasy teams, you're kind of picking him because he's going to get some points, at least some points in qualifying. But yeah, just the day of the race, it completely fell apart. They had some good points. I mean, Magnussen getting pole 2 years ago, and that was a big deal for the team. And you were hoping that they made the necessary steps. They were calling it the Ferrari car for a little bit there, and it looked really good. But just fell apart throughout the season. Completely understand, just like any other sport. Yeah. If you don't perform, you're out.
Yeah. And there's a lot of change there coming because it's not just Gunther that's leaving, but I don't remember his name off the top of my head, but the designer from Ferrari is now out of there as well. So it's be a big shift there, and that's a big project, that team. And
I think because there's more races in the U.S. now, and it's supposed to be the U.S. team. I think with Andretti racing with Cadillac coming in soon, they're two kind of American-based teams, and no one really associates Haas with the U.S. But I think there's a lot more. They want to start fresh with all these new races. I think with having 3 races in the U.S. and just promote them as America's group.
Get the American money. Be the team that gets as opposed to the Andretti's.
Yeah, exactly. They got to do something.
Would they try to pluck Zach Brown, or is that out of the question?
Oh, I don't think Zach would leave. He's too entrenched with
all
of McLaren. Right? Like he goes to Indy. Like he's a big
deal.
Yeah, but that wheel bag, we got to talk to him.
Yeah,
when he's in the hangout, we'll figure it out.
We should just take the show on the road for one of the Montreal GP.
Oh, yeah.
And do the Hangout live from there and then try to grab some people.
Call Tim Hauraney, say we're crashing in his one room that TSN got him.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We could find a spot.
Yeah.
I'm not happy until I'm doing a grid walk one day. Then that'll be it. You'll never see me again. I'll be Kaiser Soze.
We'll get you the media pass for that.
Yeah.
We'll sign you up. We'll get you there. We'll get you a headset.
Me and Hauraney, that'd be fun. That would be great.
Let's do it.
Tim's got lots of energy. Yeah, I like that, Matthew.
You got to try these things. You got to throw things on the wall and see what sticks. One of these years. I'm not going to guarantee 2024.
No, let's.
But one of these years.
One of these years.
Yeah. We'll get it done.
Okay.
And maybe we can convince them to do something in Edmonton. Maybe we'll just create a race in Edmonton.
Right.
Yeah. We'll be the promoters of it. That's not going to happen. The doc saying in the nasty chat, Haas is the biggest tightwad in F1. The car sucks, but he'll continue to blame everyone but himself. Huntorium Home saying they were dead last and had 0 pace, and that's why Gunther is out. Let's now actually get to movers and shakers, which is brought to you by Marco and Mike, Realty One Group Insider. If you're looking to buy or sell your home, give Marco and Mike a try. Visit them at marcoandmike.com for more information on the dynamic duo. Bill Belichick today.
We need to change the Chiron. Let's say DVD.
Oh, I didn't change that today.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Thank you, Tube Socks.
Tube Socks is always on.
He's always on top.
We'll just get rid of that.
And we
completely.
will talk about Bill Belichick.
There we go.
Nice.
Bill Belichick out after 24 years with the New England Patriots. Wins 6 Super Bowls, 9 Super Bowl appearances, I believe it is. But in the last few years without Tom Brady, can't get anything done. Is he the greatest coach in NFL history?
Yes.
Who wants to take that? You think so?
Yeah. 6 Super Bowls. It just the run that he had with Brady over the last 24 years, the program he built. Yeah, I get the last couple of years. And this is the problem with not going out on top, where you stick around and have a couple bad years. All of a sudden, for some reason, you exit the conversation.
Yeah.
Whereas had he left when Brady left, right? Had it been, you know what, we're both gone, we're both done, right? Tom Brady, greatest quarterback of all time. Bill Belichick, greatest head coach of all time. Or at least the greatest tandem of all time. So,
Yeah, it's like, I agree with that.
Yeah.
But I do see the other side of this, which is, okay, but Tom Brady leaves. He goes, wins another Super Bowl with another
Sure.
coach, and
Yeah.
Bill Belichick can't get anything done. And in Cleveland, he didn't get anything done. And he's only the product of having the greatest quarterback of all time. So then is he the greatest coach of all time?
Show me a great coach that wins without great players, right? Joe Torre was nothing until he got to the Yankees, right? Glenn Sather was the greatest GM, but then through the 90s, look at what happened with the money and this and that. Well, he put some competitive teams out. Everything is circumstance, and what you have, the resources you have available to you, allow you to become great. And when you have those great players, it's not a guarantee to win. Bill Belichick won with great players. Right, he won with Tom Brady, and I know Tom Brady went and won in Tampa, but that was a pretty good team there in Tampa as well.
Yep.
So,
Sather also with the Rangers didn't even come close.
I remember Slats coming in and complaining about how much guys made, and and these other teams, and then he goes to the Rangers, and then didn't he sign Bobby Halik to $9 million right away? Like he just fell into the whole thing again. And
They spent so much money before the 2004 lockout, and they never made the playoffs.
Yeah. It was really bad. So, yeah, it's you have to be a little bit lucky in sports. I'm not saying Belichick's not great, because you could see some of the brilliance with his coaching style and things that he was able to implement with his teams. But yeah, if you do go into the multiverse and see what happens if Tom Brady doesn't go to the Patriots, I don't think we're talking about Belichick in the same reverence as we are now.
But also, is Tom Brady winning 7 Super Bowls overall if he doesn't go to the New England Patriots and be with Bill Belichick?
Yeah. It's a symbiotic relationship, I think, for those two, for sure. Yeah. It's they got great guys. That whole, it's amazing the culture that you can build within a team with a few players. I look to the Detroit Red Wings, right? Back in the day with the Yzermans and Draper, Maltby, Fedorov, all the Russians, Larionov. The culture there was funny. I remember hearing Chris Draper talk about the culture of the Red Wings, where they all had little workout groups. So, and I think he said he was in a workout group with like Yzerman and someone else or whatever, and they all worked out together after practice. And it was at a point where one of them wouldn't want to. Like he's sitting after, I don't want to. And then you'd have 2 guys, let's go, let's get in there. And so there was always someone to pull you in and do extra and do these things. And as a young guy coming in, you're like, oh my God, look, like Yzerman's saying he doesn't want to do anything. And he's got 2 guys that aren't Steve Yzerman telling him to do something to get better, right? So that was and that was the reason they were so good. Another reason is they had Nick Lidstrom, of course, but and then that culture with the Patriots, you just heard about it constantly, what they were like, and the level of excellence that was required. Or if you weren't on that same page, you weren't going to be part of that organization.
Yeah,
it was often you'd hear the polls where the player people wanted to play for least was Bill Belichick, but also the player that they most wanted to play for was Bill Belichick. Yeah. Like there's that Chris Jones feel, like where it's, if you love, like there's those players that love that type of system and they'll go there and they'll excel. There's some people that just can't do it. They can't handle it and they'll never go there. But the Patriots way was, just excellence, and it was also very cutthroat. Bill Belichick, when he was at his height as a GM, I will go with, he had no problem getting rid of you the moment he saw you as someone that couldn't do it. Yeah. Even if that meant you were a first-round pick the year before, he wouldn't keep you around. He'd get rid of you.
Yeah.
And that was some of the brilliance that Bill Belichick did have, which helped him as a coach. I look at the last few years of Bill, and it goes, the GM cost the coach. The GM didn't give him players. The GM didn't build a team out there for Coach Bill Belichick to go win with. Mm-hmm. And that was the part. He had too much power in the end.
Yeah.
Yeah. There was a quote from a former Pat, that said something like, "I played for Tom Brady, but I worked for Bill Belichick." That was the quote. I was like, "Yeah, that makes sense."
I love those little Edelman quotes about Belichick, how he treated him as a young player, and he just was like all poopy pants and would go out to LA with Tom and work out with him and want to be like doing everything he possibly can to get in. And he just said Belichick it was tough to play for this guy, but the end result was it made him a way better player.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does he go somewhere else? Should he go somewhere else? 71.
Pete Carroll said bye-bye. Nick Saban on the college side
Pete Carroll
said
didn't say bye-bye.
They made him say bye-bye?
He doesn't even know what his role is going to be. He was pushed out.
That's
Wasn't his
bye-bye.
choice. Yeah.
He's pushed
That's
out,
bye-bye, though.
Yeah.
but he's pushed out.
Okay.
He
That-
still
that's
wants
still-
to coach, I think.
That's still, hey, we're done with you behind the bench.
But that doesn't mean he's done
I don't
coaching,
know. It
right?
just feels like now all these guys are not going to be back for
Well, I'll say
I
right now, when it
know.
comes to Pete Carroll, I wouldn't be shocked if Pete Carroll's on a bench next year, running it. I wouldn't be
With the
shocked.
Seahawks?
No, with a different team.
Oh.
I wouldn't be surprised if a team like the LA Chargers, where Pete Carroll was the coach of USC. The practice facility that the Chargers are opening isn't that far from where Pete Carroll used to live when he was the head coach of USC. I would not be shocked if all of a sudden Pete Carroll is the head coach of the LA Chargers for next season.
These guys are 71, 72 years old. I know there's a burning desire to win and all that stuff, but they have cajillions of dollars. Like, go enjoy whatever's left of your life. I know they probably don't see it that way, but I think, this is kind of a big hint for all of them. Like, go do stuff, man. Like, you've done it all already.
Don't you think with Belichick anyway, though, with Tom Brady leaving and going and winning, don't you think he would like to win one more with another team just to kind of turn the screws a little bit and say I was the main reason?
What team is there that he can go to that has the availability that he could win in the next 2 years?
To me, it's the Chargers.
Yeah.
Back to Bill Belichick,
Yeah.
it is the Chargers.
Chargers.
Because you have an offense there. You have Justin Herbert.
Yeah.
You've got Keenan Allen. You've got Mike Williams. You've got Austin Eckler running back. You got a team offensively. You need to improve that defense a little bit. And there's still some pieces there defensively.
Yeah.
That's a team that we all thought this year was going to be a lot better and just was awful. But that's a team I could see quickly turning it around and being back right away. And that's probably the only open spot, because who else is open right now?
I mean, Atlanta is
they want him
Tennessee.
bad,
like in Atlanta, there's pieces there as well, and
but they need a QB.
they need a QB, but that division is winnable, right?
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, Tennessee follow Vrabel there. I don't know. That'd be
Well, Vrabel to the Patriots could
Just-
make a
just
lot
do
of
the
sense.
shift, right?
Yeah.
Just do the
Switch 'em,
trade.
You know,
Yeah.
Washington needs a coach. Titans need a coach. Seahawks need a coach. Pats need a coach. Chargers need a coach. Raiders need a coach. Panthers need a coach, and the Falcons need a coach.
Okay. Well, Panthers are a hard no, hard pass. And I know it's different. I know Snyder's out, but Washington to me is still it's not an attractive
yeah.
option to try and hit your wagon onto, right?
Well,
Like,
of all
it's-
those teams, who has a quarterback that you're ready, you feel good
Chargers,
about?
you're right.
Yeah, it's
And like
Chargers.
with the Falcons, they need a quarterback. Panthers, I guess you go Bryce Young, maybe only 1 year. Is there a quarterback you could develop? But does Bill Belichick want to take time to develop
Yeah.
a quarterback? Raiders have Jimmy Garoppolo. Bill Belichick would know Garoppolo.
Yeah.
So
Good
does
point.
he want to go there? But I don't know how much money that Mark Davis has if he has that money to go shell that out. I don't think he does after paying Gruden and paying McDaniels and all that.
Yeah.
We mentioned Chargers. He's out of Pats. Seahawks, Geno Smith. He's not a Super Bowl winning quarterback, I wouldn't say. Titans, you got Will Levis. A lot of unknown there. And Commanders, I don't know what they're going to do there. Yeah. So Bill Belichick's struggle is getting the QB.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
You laid
Arthur
out
Blank's
good.
going to back up the Brinks trucks for Atlanta and see if they can get him there. And if you're an owner, though, would you allow him to be a GM?
No, just sole focus, right? Like I appreciate Belichick wanting to go in and get all but that the two jobs, and we've seen the last few years here and what's happened in New England. I wonder, like, do you sit out a season and a team that was supposed, was a Super Bowl favorite and doesn't win and goes, we just need, it was coaching that needs to get us over the top. Like, there's 7 now. does a team somewhere in this playoff run or maybe next year stumble out in the first or second round and go, it's coaching that we need to change. We've got a team established here. We just need a new voice. That's where it goes. We're saying these are the 7 that are the only opportunities
Right now.
But it doesn't mean there aren't other opportunities that might pop up with it
After playoffs.
after
might
playoffs.
shake some.
And a GM or an owner goes, you know what? Right?
Good point.
So what teams could open up this year? Cowboys would be one I'd look at.
Cowboys.
If the Cowboys don't win this round,
Bills, like the year they've had. Right?
That's a good one.
Bills
Right.
could be something. 100%. If the Steelers go into Buffalo and upset them,
Yeah.
his
Right.
comments that he made about 9/11 still are going to be there. You've heard about the comments.
I heard it and then I looked it up and I was like, geez, how do you go there?
I have no idea how you think that that's the spot to go with. That's a team that could do it.
Yeah.
Long term, like even next year. I was going back to it was the Bills to me was one. I didn't know if I should say it or not. So I'm glad you did.
But because they start the year in conversation as Super Bowl favorites, right? And they've had that kind of back and forth. They end up winning their division, but the hard way.
Yeah.
Right. They wasn't certainly
That was a roller coaster ride.
dominating through. Are you a Bills fan? Is that
No, not at all.
Okay.
I just have to hear it from them because evidently every third person is now a Bills fan.
I know I'm not a Bills fan.
It's
either,
like,
but
why?
I'm surrounded by them.
You wear pajama pants to Sunday games.
Yeah.
Anyway, continue. Sorry, Tom.
But no, that is, and I think that would be a good fit. I mean, in the division, wouldn't that be fun?
Yeah.
It's a team that's there, that's ready. I mean, that could be an option. Boy, this is a lot of what ifs, right? But that would be one in the playoff. If they stumble, that might be an opportunity. The best one out of the bunch there.
The other 2 openings that I could potentially see, Andy Reid apparently has talked about retiring after this year.
Really?
There's been some of those rumblings that this might be
then
his
he
final
goes there
year.
for sure.
Does Bill Belichick go there with Pat Mahomes? Does Kansas City want him? And the other is Mike Tomlin apparently might be done with the Steelers. That he might just be tired of being there.
But the Steelers, they don't hire a coach for 2 years, right?
No, they do not.
Yeah, right. So unless Belichick's in coach till he's 95, I don't see the Steelers. Right?
Or if by YouTube Trev's math, it's 105. So
It's going to be fascinating to watch. It's going to be fascinating where he lands because like the coaching carousel in NFL and in college is unreal right now because there is the question marks of what's going to happen with Jim Harbaugh. Is he going to stay at Michigan or is he going to go to the NFL and take one of these many spots that are opening? Now he's got a longer, he's probably more willing to take one of those spots that is a development, not looking for the immediate win. What happens at Alabama now with Nick Saban retiring is going to send a trickle effect of if they take the Oregon coach, okay, who's Oregon going to go higher? Or if they go take Steve Sarkisian in Texas, who's Texas going to go higher? And then there's that whole domino effect that's going to come.
Kingsbury.
They should go hire Cliff Kingsbury.
That is a joke, but yeah.
And then there's also potential that college football semifinalists, the 4 semifinalists, all are looking for new coaches this year.
It's crazy.
Really?
Because Nick Saban retires.
Yeah.
Let's say they go call Steve Sarkisian and they hire him. He leaves Texas. Jim Harbaugh goes to the National Football League. And DeBoer, head coach of the Huskies. Would the Seahawks want to talk to him?
Interesting.
Yeah.
I saw somebody say the Seahawks would want to talk to him. Would you hire him? There's a coach that has just risen up the ranks from FCS, I think it's called, to the FBS, gets the national championship, has just won as he goes up. In that city, for the Seahawks, you go, this guy's going to build something here. Look what he did with the Huskies.
Where do you think Harbaugh would go?
Atlanta's being discussed. Chargers are being discussed.
So he goes to an established team, kind of one that's on the cusp, do you think?
He doesn't want a project.
No?
Yeah.
I think he'd build something. He likes building them.
Yeah.
He went to San Jose State and built that up. He went to Stanford, built that up. He went to the 49ers, built that up. He then went to Michigan and built that up.
And don't you...
Doesn't mean you have to take a team with no pieces, though.
Right.
Yeah.
Got to build with something.
And you just got the victory juices flowing. It's tough to go from right here to down here because you want to be constructive because that's in your nature.
Yeah. And NFL is so cutthroat. Say you go to say it's Carolina and you go and after 4 years, maybe you've brought them to 6-12 or 6-13 or whatever, right? I'd see him taking one of the more established ones. Like, look, we've got 7 teams all with firing their head coaches for reasons, right? Because there are issues there. So each of them is a project in some way. But we're either buying the house from the money pit, or right, or we're getting one that it at least looks nice. Yeah. So yeah,
Harbaugh's also going to follow the money too, though.
Sure.
That's a guy that's not because Michigan's going to pay him.
Oh yeah.
Michigan's ready to open up the books too, or the truck, and go here, take whatever you need.
Yeah.
They just want to make sure he doesn't go to the NFL anymore. Like he's got to stop having those conversations for them, because it's like the thing with college is when you leave, or the coach keeps flirting with that, it's tough to recruit.
Yeah.
And there's a lot, like Alabama, are you going to see a lot of players enter the transfer portal wanting to leave Bama right now because they don't know who the next head coach is going to be, and they're going to try to go somewhere else. And our other coach is going to try to poach players from there. So if you're Michigan, you want to solidify him there, but they have the money for it. Do the Titans have that money to get Jim Harbaugh more than the University of Michigan? Michigan has
I would assume
money.
yes. I would assume yes, but
I wouldn't assume. But for me, I don't assume that. Like, 'cause Michigan has probably almost unlimited funds.
I know.
Because of all their boosters.
But it's like we're talking about an NFL franchise here. Like, that's unlimited funds. Like,
because there's a couple of colleges that just stand above the rest.
yeah.
Did you guys see? I think it was Joe Pompliano put out the Saban effect in Alabama. When he joined, the school had 25,000 students enrolled. It's now, I think, 60,000.
Wow.
Most of them, when he joined, the majority of students were from in-state. Now the majority of students are from out of state, which is better for the school because they pay full freight.
Yeah.
Right.
And so this is where the money comes flooding into this school. So he was saying that Nick Saban was paid $100 million or whatever it was over his time there, but made the school $1 billion. Right. So,
Jesus.
so when we look at, Michigan has the money to do it. It's the prestige that these football programs bring.
Yes.
And just drawing people in, the money it makes.
Yeah.
So,
And you don't even have
could
to
Michigan
spend
have it? Yeah. Right.
And the university doesn't even have to spend it, necessarily their money. A booster will come, a bunch of boosters will come and go, here's the money.
Yeah.
Use it. Like, here's our donations. Go spend it on Jim Harbaugh to make sure this guy stays, because we want to keep winning football games.
Yeah.
Those alumni lounges at the football stadiums are something else, man. Like, it is crazy. The boosters, like the influence that they have. They're like the whispers behind the scenes with the Brinks trucks, as you put it, Maddie. It's crazy.
Take the Chargers out of this. There's 6 remaining teams that right now don't have a coach. Who would you guys think is the best spot?
For Harbaugh or
For anyone.
For anyone?
What's the best landing spot right now? If I take the Chargers out of it, because again, you have Justin Herbert. So that does elevate them.
How far
You've got
removed are
Falcons, Panthers, Raiders, Pats, Seahawks, Titans, Commanders. What is the most attractive landing spot in your eyes?
if you want to win, like the Titans were right there a couple of years ago, right? Like, wouldn't they be the right voice and a couple of pieces away from competing again? I know they lost Henry and he walked away.
And
Still bring him back.
too.
They can
That was
still bring him
weird.
back.
Well,
It's
I don't know.
gonna be unlikely.
You think the custodial staff and the parking and security, like, you gone?
Yep.
Like, I'm sorry, and like classy, and I really appreciate that. But I look at Tennessee, I'm like, do you want to win? Like, I think they might be ready for a quick regroup, and they're off and running again. That to me, instinctually, yes, the Chargers, Justin Herbert, and all that. But I look at Tennessee, I'm like, if I want to win, I want to grow or live in one of America's fastest growing cities. There's everything there. It's centralized. You're going to make big bucks. You're going to have a fun time, and you could win. I look at Tennessee, and I'm like, I think that's pretty lucrative.
why does it's Derrick Henry, right?
Yeah.
Why is he leaving? I thought he was retiring, and then because that speech he gave on the field, and I'm like, oh, he's just looking to play somewhere else.
I think it's just
30-year-old running back.
feels like they're done.
In the NFL nowadays, you don't have that too often. The Raheem Mostert of Miami, that story's kind of really rare, actually. This 30-some-year-old running back who's having this unbelievable season. That kind of doesn't happen as much. The money's not going to be there. Titans don't want to commit. He's probably trying to still cash in somewhere.
It was odd seeing the farewell, but I'm looking for some. I know, and I realize that the half-life of running backs is quite small, but and the way he runs, I mean, that's going to be tough on the body in a few years.
He was he's one of those. He was born in the wrong era.
Yeah.
He needs to be born in the 80s, 90s and play that era because
Yeah.
he'd still be playing.
Yeah.
He'd have been used a lot, and that was what football was in the National Football League.
Smash Mouth.
And it wasn't the CFL. That's the thing.
No.
Like, the CFL was the passing game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The NFL has turned into the CFL.
Well, they try to use or whatever they call their motion now. Like
The waggle?
they
Or
try
their version?
Yeah, their version of the waggle. It's cute. I appreciate it. Yeah, and I like that they give love to the CFL for it. Nifty.
I'm looking forward to the CFL this year. Actually, I'm there at most games now, but I'm starting to learn more of the players. I wasn't a huge. I should be, since my family lineage. I'm cousins, well, by marriage with Mervyn Fernandez. So
Is that Swervin' Mervyn?
Swervin Mervyn.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah. So
And we're just finding this out now?
I've told people this. You just never listen to me.
Maybe I'm not one of those people you've told this to.
Yeah, no. When he was with, I distinctly remember Lions back in the day, Eskimos playing in the Grey Cup. I think it was in BC Place, and obviously Edmonton won. And I think I was crying because Mervyn lost, but I was younger back then.
Damn.
But yeah, great receiver. He was awesome, and Raiders for a while too, really fast. He was my uncle married his mom. It was a mixed marriage. So yeah.
Cool. See?
Yeah.
Is Corey Mace the right guy in Saskatchewan?
I hope so. Change needed to happen there, right? They'd stagnated, but like the age-old football problem, who's their quarterback? I mean, Trevor Harris is going to be back, but he's not the long-term answer. We saw this year that Mason Fine ended up being the back. Well, he got hurt and all that, but Dolagala, I don't know. They could use a quarterback. There are some pieces at that team. Jeremy O'Day remaining on as general manager. We'll see how that goes. But
I don't like that move.
I know.
And keeping Craig Reynolds even.
Yeah, it was. This was
They
a
needed
chance
a
for
full
a fresh
clean
start.
house.
This was a chance for a fresh start, and look, we'll see what Corey Mace does as head coach. Willing to give the benefit of the doubt and let him see.
He
Excited,
seems
right?
So positive.
Yeah, I love that.
I'm just like, look at this guy's energy.
Mark Mueller is a local, I don't want to say local legend, but he's, he's Ron Lancaster's grandson.
Yeah.
He played college football there. Offensive coordinator, like that's a big step up.
Yeah.
He had play calling duties in Calgary this past season and they were taken away. But look, it wasn't necessarily his scheme, so curious to see what gets developed there. Waiting to see what the rest of the coaching staff looks like and how they build that staff there. And who they bring in free agency, but yeah, until they solve the long-term quarterback question,
There's a lot of,
and there's a lot of that around the league, and
Yeah.
there always is. Like it's not 2008 anymore, where every team seemed to have a good quarterback.
Yeah,
Remember that
that's right.
era where all the teams they were 50 points a game, and every team had a quarterback where you had to go right, and it after that kind of run, we had this dip through those early teen years, and the scoring went down, and the league is like the attendance has gone down, and they've struggled with that. So. I appreciate the Elks signing a more Bethel Thompson for the experience in this and that, but Trey Ford's an exciting young quarterback to watch. I get the signing. Coaches are about wins, not exciting, not losing in an exciting fashion. But
I hate it.
I appreciate
you.
that. I appreciate that. I get that. I mean, I'm not an Elks fan, but if Bethel Thompson gets them more wins than Trey Ford, is that not a better year?
No.
And I'm not convinced that Bethel Thompson will get them more wins than Trey Ford. Trey Ford showed well, and you got to, at some point, play your young quarterback. But as a coach in year, what is this?
This is his third year.
Third year,
yeah.
And has not seen results yet and has had nothing but headache at quarterback since he got here. He went out and got someone that you know what you get. It is a consistent quarterback that has won in the CFL before. And someone that at least he can trust his offense with.
Yeah.
This isn't an unproven, unknown commodity. It is a commodity that he goes, I know what I have. And I know he has done it before.
you know what he has, Tom? He has Cinnamon Toast Crunch sitting right there in the cupboard, and he went out and got Raisin Bran because he knows he needs it.
Yeah. I love that.
To that though, the reason his quarterbacking hasn't been good the last 2 years is because he's been terrible at picking quarterbacks, Chris Jones. Which is saying Bill Belichick can't find a quarterback, or like can't GM. Chris Jones, he goes with Nick Arbuckle. He then goes with Taylor Cornelius.
Reluctantly Arbuckle.
But that's who was here. That predates
He could have got rid of Nick Arbuckle. He could have got rid of Nick Arbuckle. He chose to go with Nick Arbuckle.
Yeah.
And he then decided that Taylor Cornelius was not a good enough quarterback in his first year here, that he's not even good enough to dress. And then a year later, he thinks he's good enough to start. And have Daggy as number 2 and Trey Ford as number 4, actually, because Kyle Loxley was there ahead. And the only reason he's won football games in these last years is actually because of Trey Ford. Trey Ford hasn't lost him the football games. It was the other quarterbacks that lost him those football games more than so.
Yeah. But all those other 4 quarterbacks you named, right? Those 4, Arbuckle, Cornelius, Trey Ford, and Daggy, not one of them has a resume like Bethel Thompson. And so I see him, he's brought in someone that has at least a resume. He's not a superstar quarterback, and he's not going to march them to the Grey Cup. And if they win the Grey Cup, it won't be because of McLeod Bethel Thompson. But they're not going to lose games the way they lose games because of McLeod Bethel Thompson. He's at least kind of that stable, boring. He's a guy that can play, and we know who he is, and we know what we get out of him. And Trey Ford is hopefully he's for the Elks franchise, he sticks around and goes through it and learns and can be the next guy, the next superstar. And who knows, maybe this is the year he steps up and does it. But Chris Jones couldn't go into this season with Trey Ford number 1 and who knows behind him. Have no insurance policy.
Well,
right now, Trey Ford is the insurance policy.
Well, and that's it. But that's, I think you go Trey Ford and you get a good veteran backup for him.
But who's
somebody
that
who
guy?
could play. Well, the guy that could have been great would have been Dane Evans.
Yeah.
But then he retires last week.
Here's the other one that is like Mazzoli done. Like I know he's had like 2 devastating injuries, but
again, can you bet on a guy that's had 2 devastating injuries?
That's a good point.
Right? You take this, these guys, they're coaches, and they're there to get wins and stability.
Yeah.
And he found a stable quarterback, someone that's done it.
For a year, though. And that's the issue. So, and that's where I'll go back to. You said that winning more games this year with McLeod Bethel Thompson, Trey Ford, is that not better? Here's where I say maybe it's not, because it depends how many more wins. If McLeod Bethel Thompson won 8 games or 10 games this year, but Trey Ford would have won you 7. 3 games difference. But Trey Ford, you could see, okay, well, there's a quarterback that could be here now for longer.
Sure.
So the next year he can go win you 12, 13 games, and he could then do that for the next 10 years. McLeod Bethel Thompson, he could be gone after this year.
Sure, but at least...
so you've won for 1 year, but then you're in the offseason next year going, well, we need another quarterback. We're looking because Trey Ford's gone because he's pissed off.
Yeah.
And McLeod Bethel Thompson's going, I'm retired. I'm good. I came here for the 1 year.
Yeah.
And now Chris Jones is, well, I need a quarterback, and he's searching for one, and who's that going to be?
Yeah, Trevor Harris when he's done in Regina, right?
Because Trey Ford went to Saskatchewan, and he's starting in Saskatchewan, and he's winning in Saskatchewan.
Come on
Elks
over.
fans have to watch Trey Ford see winning with the green and white.
So this is an awful bet if Trey Ford leaves, right? If this costs him Trey Ford, it's an awful bet.
Yeah.
But who has Trey Ford learned from here? Right? At least there's a quarterback here he can learn from now, and can, a guy that's done it, played in a playoff game, right? Has been there, done it, seen the league, seen the tough side of it, seen the good side of it. He wasn't learning off those other guys. And all due respect to those other guys, like all world athletes, and we're here for a reason. But if I'm the Elks franchise and I'm looking for a guy to insulate Trey Ford, to teach Trey Ford, like I said, just because McLeod Bethel Thompson is your starter week 1 doesn't mean he is week 10.
True.
Yeah.
Right?
But
Problem with that is it's a Jack
paying
Campbell
him a huge
situation
money.
at that point, except not with the long-term contract.
What if he gets dinged up? Because Bethel Thompson does get banged up.
Yeah.
Too.
Right. And it's I don't think it's a Jack Campbell situation because, fans, like the Oilers are in a different spot than the Elks. Jack Campbell was brought in to be that, you're going to be the goalie and we're going to run to that Stanley Cup with you. Bethel Thompson's not being brought in because they're going to run to the Grey Cup with him. He's being brought into, Winnipeg is always going to, Winnipeg is still the cream of this division. BC still really tough. It's that, we want to battle out with Regina, Calgary, and Edmonton. It's those 3 teams battling it out for that 3rd place. That's where they're at. So, sitting McLeod Bethel Thompson down in week 10, I don't think it's because he's just been absolutely terrible and he's done and that. I think it's because he's been brought in, he's done well enough, but Trey Ford has been showing well, and it's time for him to go. And
I don't think we'll get there at all. Just seeing Chris Jones, because
You think he's just gonna?
well, why did he go to
MBT?
Trey Ford?
He had
Had
no
to.
other option.
He had to.
So unless this team is sitting at another 0-8,
Man.
2-6 record, there's no reason. And actually, I'll say this: if that's where the Elks are at, Chris Jones isn't making that change because Chris Jones is gone.
Jones has changed.
You know what's crazy?
He's gone.
How long before he makes that change though? Is it 0-4, 0-3, 0-5?
He's not even the coach and GM right now without Trey Ford. Like he would have
That's
been
the
getting
thing.
like it's insane.
I don't
He would have got fired if they don't win
don't
games in
think
the
so.
second half of the season.
Yeah.
I don't think so, just because of his contract. And this isn't the Elks of the 1990s where, whatever. Cut the check and off you go. I don't know. I think his contract insulates him from being fired this past year. These next 2 years, he's got 2 years left.
Well, he's got
4
one more
years
after
ago,
this one.
right?
Yeah,
so
but
it's
if
4
they
years.
fired him in August last year or at the end of that season, they only have to pay him for this year. They didn't have to pay the 2 years.
is that how it works?
They didn't have to pay the
Okay.
2 years. They only had to pay one extra year. So his contract, while it is a little bit, they would have only had to deal with a 1-year deal of paying for Chris Jones this year and having him walk.
No.
It did seem like if they don't go 4-6 in the last 10 and instead go 1 or 2 wins, he is gone.
Yeah.
But Trey Ford keeps him his job, and this is how he gets repaid. And that I just,
Who's OC
if
now?
this was
Jerry
it'll be
Jerry
Jackson.
Jackson's still here?
Well, they haven't announced the
Right.
coaching
Yeah.
staff fully yet. We'll see.
Yeah.
But it's one of those. If this was a different coach, I could sit here and agree with everything everyone said about bringing in a veteran quarterback to train Trey Ford, and Trey Ford would be the starter next year. Everything I've seen from Chris Jones, though, now is he does not believe in Trey Ford as a starting quarterback.
Yeah.
And this is leading to Trey Ford leaving Edmonton because it's going to be a decision basically next year. It's Chris Jones or Trey Ford with the Edmonton Elks. And it's going to be one or the other. It's not going to be both.
So if they start 0-4, start Trey Ford game 5, they win. Does he go back to Trey Ford again or go back?
Yes. Because again,
Because
it's about
it
wins.
shows that he doesn't want to start this guy, right? He doesn't trust him. I've been in situations kind of with coaches that don't have any faith in you, right? And it's a brutal thing, even when you perform, but they just still there's something about you they don't like.
Yeah.
So it seems that, and I'm not the biggest CF, but I could see that. I could see that throughout the year, and watching Trey Ford, he checks so many boxes for a struggling team. He's exciting. Yeah. He's unpredictable. The stuff he can do, a lot of quarterbacks in the CFL can't.
Well, I'll just interject there quickly. Kyler Murray with the Cardinals had this amazing run this year. Someone put that up to Trey Ford's run in Calgary and said which one was better, and they were almost very identical. And Trey's, you'd sit there and be like, that one's better.
Yeah.
And Kyler Murray's was just praised down south. Sorry, I just want to get that.
No. I mean, he's going to put butts in the seats. I was excited to see him this year. I was upset when I heard about this. So I don't know. I'm just slinging dogs in the back.
Well, but the business shouldn't
though,
generally
so
impact sporting decisions. I've always believed that.
Yeah.
This is one where the Elks are at.
Playoffs.
But you need business. I don't.
You need to make the playoffs.
Yeah.
And I'm
But
not
you're
saying
not
Trey
hosting-
Ford can't get you, but
Is
get
playing and then getting smoked by the BC Lions in a West semifinal in BC gonna really help the casual fan as opposed to the casual fan getting go to Commonwealth in July and August to go watch Trey Ford?
yeah, do something special.
If they get if that scenario plays out, what was the process to getting to that West semifinal? Was it fun? Did Trey Ford get better? Were they exciting? Did they put butts in seats? Then yes, it's worth it.
Well, not sure, but McLeod Bethel Thompson.
Or if MBT does, yeah. But if
It's
people
like-
start coming back and then they get their asses kicked in the playoffs, then yes, it was worth it.
There's more judgment that is needed to be made on the Elks because I got to see what they do on the offensive line. Because if they don't really do anything on the offensive line in free agency, then this is even worse. To
Yeah.
me. Because you spent money on McLeod Bethel Thompson, but you didn't
Doesn't
improve the
move.
offensive line.
Yeah.
and welcome to Regina's problems, right? It's the same thing. If you don't have an offensive line,
Yeah.
I don't care who's standing back there, right? Look,
Tom, that in 2022 when the Elks were rushing 3 and still
Right?
sacking Fajardo,
That
was bad.
so and who gets removed? It's Fajardo and Moss. And what
Yeah.
do they go do?
So they get to go big fat ring and a nice trophy.
Right?
Yeah. Not bad. We do have some texts that are coming in for Tom specifically.
Sweet.
May I?
Go for it. This is the EST Hangout presented by Mott's, Clamato, Caesar, Matt Iwanyk, Tom Gazzola, Tom Vernon, Joaquin Gage with you here. Go ahead. 780-218-9999, Paris Jewelers inbox.
That's the one. Coach Mike says, in regard to coaches quitting or stopping and just living their lives, Tom Vernon is on the Hangout, so I will inject some politics. Chuck Grassley has been a U.S. Senator for 44 years. He's 90. I don't get it. Just retire. Live your life. Signed, Coach Mike. Tom, your response.
I don't understand why people. I don't understand why people get into politics to begin with, but to stay for 45 years, and we've seen it here in Canada too. Like Jean Chrétien was here forever,
Right?
And I'm with you, Coach Mike. I don't understand why they do it for one day, let alone 45 years.
Well,
and it's particularly in the United States with the Senate. I mean,
Oh, my goodness.
it's you can make money being a politician down there, right? But
Yep.
once you're 90,
Well, presidential election this year.
yeah,
Joe Biden's 81.
yeah,
Donald Trump, the presumptive
yeah, he's 80,
favorite for the Republican nominee, 77.
yeah, 77, yeah.
That's what you want leading your country. You know?
Let's go.
Like even in Canada, whatever you want, politics, Justin Trudeau, Jagmeet Singh, Pierre Poilievre, they're all relatively young still. They're like,
Yeah.
you're talking about younger people who are running this, you know?
Yeah, because Trudeau would be Gen X. Polyev is he a bit younger than him? Would he be?
I don't know.
Yeah, kind of in there, right?
I'm not a
Pierre
politics
Poilievre
guy.
is 44, so
Right, so
he's that Gen X millennial type.
Yeah,
What is Trudeau? Is Trudeau
he's in that range. He's 45 to somewhere there. Yeah,
52.
52.
Is he?
He's
Okay.
52.
Wow. He's
There you go.
80.
He's
He's
in the
Gen
heart of
X
Gen
then.
X, yeah.
Hardcore.
Jagmeet Singh is 45.
Yeah.
So they're in that wheelhouse.
That's what you
yeah,
want.
yeah.
yeah.
I
Like
think
even,
that's what
you mentioned Chrétien, just quickly look, he's 90.
Yeah.
So he got out as
he'd-
PM at 70.
70. Yeah.
Like that's old, like in Canada. So
Yeah.
you're a prime minister leaving at 70
Yeah.
is, man, you're old doing this. And there it's,
Because he was.
let's
70.
run for president.
I mean, Harper was in his 50s. Who was before? Martin would have been kind of in
He
his
would have
60s
been older.
there,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yep.
But yeah, it's Gen X has taken over the political leadership
Right.
here. Whereas in the US, I mean, Barack Obama was. And
Yeah.
Still boomers down there.
yeah, but yeah, Bill Clinton was the first boomer president. And then
That was relatively young. George W. Bush.
yeah, so but he would have been a boomer.
Yeah.
Yeah, he would have been
He's
kind of
still a
baby
boomer.
boomer
Yeah.
still, right? So they had one Gen X guy. Well, maybe Brock isn't Gen X, but anyway, kind of they went a bit younger, but
Yeah.
then they completely
Did they ever?
turned and went the other way.
You have to be 35, over
Yes.
35, correct?
Yeah.
But then, like Finland's prime minister, she was like 32, wasn't she?
Yeah.
She's out now though.
Yeah.
because she was partying like a normal 32-year-old would when she was off. I think she was dancing or something like that, and people are
She
like,
missed her phone, or she missed a phone call.
"Oh
Yeah.
yeah,
She didn't have
What
her
a
phone on her and
joke.
stuff.
yeah."
The
Anyway.
questions, who was she with? The prime minister from New Zealand, right? They were together
Oh, yeah.
negotiating trade, and some of the questions that they were asking them.
Yeah,
was
she's
some-
sexist.
Oh my God! Do you guys find that you party a lot or whatever it was? It was like,
They're
are you
living.
serious right
Yeah.
now?
Hey, some of these U.S. congressmen and women and senators, like the crap that they do is
Yeah.
wild. Like,
Yeah.
and like in their 50s, 60s, 70s, like swinging and drugs and this and that.
But you're locked in for 6 years.
As a senator,
As a senator,
Yeah.
you're locked in for 6 years.
Yeah, yeah.
It's very hard to get knocked out.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Just-
once you're in.
You're basically in.
What was her name? Dianne Feinstein.
Oh,
she was showing up on Capitol Hill and like you couldn't understand a word she was saying. They're like, "Are you like, is your mental capacity? Hi and have a nice day."
Yeah.
And she died like 2 months later. Like,
Yeah, but also one of the reasons she can't resign because of the rules is that then the Democrats lose certain
Yeah.
committees,
Right.
And, and saying that they have to then kind of stay there. But like the memes
It's
all
harsh.
day over the last few hours has been just talking about Pete Carroll, Nick Saban, Bill Belichick leaving at 70 and making fun of U.S. politicians, being like, "That's cute," you know, like we're still going. Like it's insane that
It
that
is.
happens. That there's no
It's
like,
broken down there, right? The only way you lose your seat is if you have an internal someone coming
Yeah.
after
Yeah.
you, right? Like it's
well, what's his name? What's the old guy with the big jowls?
Oh,
Mitch McConnell.
Mitch McConnell. Like
yeah.
he
Kept
had
freezing.
that concussion and he came back and you would just blank.
yeah.
he pauses for a while.
Yeah,
there.
and you're
He's
like,
just,
okay, maybe it's time. Okay, Big Maple with another one. That was funny, and I enjoyed that. Big Maple says, if there is an organic way to ask about non-sports, journalism was always a passion I wanted to explore and never pulled the trigger. Question for Tom Vernon about his past work internationally in Africa. I didn't know about this.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Did he ever find himself in a precarious situation? And how much different is it for that part of the world to cover the news, but still trying to keep themselves safe, both in the moment and how they present their country in favor or against their governments?
So yeah, I went to Sierra Leone. I was in Freetown for a month. It was a partnership between Global News and Journalists for Human Rights. So it was an internal competitive process. So I interviewed for it, won the opportunity, was sent over there to train young journalists on how to report on human rights issues. People are like, oh my God, you're going to Sierra Leone? Because we all think of the 90s with the Civil War there, blood diamonds and all that.
Yeah.
Safe country now. Like I never felt unsafe walking around, right? You take precautions, but that's like anywhere. You travel anywhere, right? You don't flaunt money around and that. But I will say, and look, poverty there is extreme, and the situations there, it's different. The only time I ever felt unsafe was when I arrived, landed at the airport, come through, get all my equipment through, but everything was so delayed. The ferry was done for the night. So JHR had sent someone off and the airport's on an island.
Oh.
So JHR had sent someone out there to help get me back to the mainland to get to where I was staying. But it's midnight now. He goes, okay, look, the ferry's done, but we can get on a jet boat. Do you want to do that? Okay. I mean, I grew up in Fox Creek. There are no oceans by Fox Creek, right? Like I'm in the bush 2 hours north of Edmonton. I'm not so big on oceans, but yeah, sure. How bad could it be? A jet boat. I'm picturing a big boat it's like a skiff or whatever you want to call it with 3 benches. And I'm crammed in with all these other guys. It's pitch black. The life jacket I put on, like it has the straps, but they're broken. So it's like, I put it over my head. Like, I guess I can hang on to it if this thing tips. And we're crashing through the waves to the mainland in the pitch black. And the guy who was sitting next to me, he goes, this is pretty sketch. Yeah, man. Like, this is my first day, like my first hour, and I'm terrified. But after that, it was amazing. I was helping students out of, it was called Fora Bay College, working with young radio journalists there, how to tell stories, how to craft a story, how to properly ask questions. Charles Taylor was the former dictator of Liberia, who had a hand in driving a lot of the civil war in Sierra Leone.
Yeah.
And he was coming up for parole or something like that. And they were asking me a lot of questions about, like, obviously this man had an awful impact on these kids' lives. And they're asking me questions like, well, how do we report on this guy without saying just how awful we think he is? And I go, well, you just report on the process, right? Like, stick with the facts. Facts are pretty bad in this guy's case, right? You can report on all that, but you can't sit there and say, and I wish he was dead, right? Like, just don't do that. You know, it's just report on the facts, report on what's going on. So that was really interesting.
Yeah.
So you didn't jump into journalism. I'm sure you have a wonderful career. There are many wonderful careers. Journalism was fun. As these guys full well
I
working in the
I'm
media.
a sports broadcaster.
Yeah.
Journalism.
I always called myself a reporter too.
Yeah.
So
No, that's good.
What do you make of Pat McAfee with Aaron Rodgers as a former journalist, news reporter?
Yeah, good one.
yeah, and I'm a Packers fan too, right? So there are many years. Mina Kimes had a great tweet the other day. He said, man, poor Packers fans having 5 weeks of a quarterback uncertainty in their entire lives. Anyway, back to Pat McAfee and having Aaron Rodgers on, right? Like, look, we can't look to Pat McAfee as this pillar of journalism, right?
Yeah.
He has a fun show,
Yeah.
says crazy things, and has crazy guests on.
Board show all
right?
of that.
Yeah, right. Look, he was looking at the legal trouble that was going to be coming in on him from all that, and Aaron Rodgers not going on. I'm just curious the background of that decision, right? Whose decision was it that Aaron Rodgers isn't coming on? Pat McAfee said it was his.
Sure.
You'd have to think ESPN probably had a thing or two to say about
Disney.
it.
Yeah, go, it's higher. That's
Yeah.
Disney. With
right?
Jimmy Kimmel, that's Disney.
Like,
Like,
right?
Didn't they say about Pat McAfee has like creative control over his own show? So they said it was his decision.
He has creative control over his show, but Jimmy Kimmel is more important to Disney than Pat McAfee is.
Yeah.
That if Disney, like Jimmy Kimmel prints money for Disney.
Yeah.
If Jimmy Kimmel's pissed off,
Yeah.
you could say you have creative license, but at some point the company still could step in and go, "That's cute. I'm glad we promised you that." No, this has to like you only get that only lasts so much. Like, especially when there's someone higher than you on the totem pole in the org.
Yeah.
And
Jimmy
it was
Kimmel.
that was dangerous what Aaron Rodgers
Sure.
did.
Absolutely.
Because I mean,
But I go beyond just the Jimmy Kimmel thing with the question. Just in general, like, because Aaron Rodgers has come on and has said a lot of things.
A lot of things.
Yeah. Like, a reporter would generally want to push back. Does Pat McAfee have to push back? Because he's not a reporter.
No.
Yeah, he's a show host. And that's the difference between watching Vashti Capellos on her show and Pat McAfee on his show. You're not going, Pat McAfee's audience is not going to his show to watch informed debate.
Yeah.
Right? They're not. That's not what that show is about.
It's 7 dude bros and one lead dude bro.
Yeah,
Like,
and it's so. I take no offense to that show as a former reporter journalist, because it is what it is. I take greater offense to other so-called political shows that are clearly just, putting people out there just to say their piece and not pushing back. That's and guising itself as journalism.
Yeah. Gager, in regard to making it Pat McAfee's decision, which he says it was, there can be conversations that are had in boardrooms and with executives to Pat McAfee that would guide his decision.
Yeah.
And
Take his
ultimately
hand
would
and walk
be
him
like,
through
hey, do you like all this money you're getting and all this primetime love and spots you're getting? You know what would be great if we didn't see Aaron Rodgers during the season? Okay, got it.
I mean,
off.
you're tuning in just to see what that doofus says, right?
Yeah.
Because he's so out there and stuff. But I didn't like what I was reading some Kimmel stuff, and he was saying, because I mean, he makes fun of a lot of the right wing stuff and Trump, and he gets constant threats from these people. But that sent it to another level where even it was affecting his children, right? So that's when you got to go, okay, let's pump the brakes here, Aaron. Your families are in danger. You gotta walk this back. It would have been so much better if he just apologized, and just said, you know what, I got away from me.
Kimmel mopped the floor with Rodgers on this one.
Oh, God,
with the way he handled it, both on the air and then with the public statements and the threats of court and all that. He killed him.
He's a little bit quicker with the.
He's a smart,
witty retorts.
He's not a self-professed brainiac. Like Jimmy Kimmel is legitimately a smart man, whereas as Jimmy Kimmel, and I laughed at this, said, like, Aaron Rodgers was like a god who thinks he's smart. Like, like he was a god on the football field, and he automatically thinks because of that he's a genius, which he is not, clearly.
Does Rodgers play next year?
Sure. Go for it.
Jets.
Go to
It's
the Jets.
Yeah, might
Sorry,
as well.
Clausen.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But hey, Jordan Love looks good, right?
You guys got a shot against the Cowboys?
It's the Cowboys. Yeah.
And it's Mike McCarthy. Do you like Mike McCarthy?
I won a lot of games in Green Bay,
Yeah.
but it was one of those ones where probably stuck around a little long.
Yeah.
Yep.
I always hated his clock management.
Sure.
It was always the worst.
Yep.
And I would
But
Aaron Rodgers should have won more Grey Cups.
Should've.
Or not Grey Cup, Super Bowl, sorry.
Yep.
Yeah.
He's coming to
but-
the Elks? What?
Yeah.
Right here.
No, thanks. No. Give me Trey Ford on that one. Portions of this hour of the EST Hangout are brought to you by Arcan RV. It is very cold outside, so if you're looking to do something indoor, Arcan RV has a great idea for something you can check out indoors right now instead of being outside in minus 30 weather. 150 RVs, once again, all indoors, all of them being cleared out. And as a bonus, if you come in with a kid in a hockey jersey and your minor hockey week badge, as it is minor hockey week, you were at the media kickoff yesterday.
We got our asses kicked.
You'll get a free Kalani insulated cup just for popping by. It is the RV Wars with Arcan RV Thursday, which is today through Sunday, 17303 100th Ave, 173rd Street, 100th Ave. And you can check them out online at rvwars.ca. The Edmonton Oilers looking for 9 straight wins. Wow. When did we have? Did they make the coaching change at the time when we had you on with Quinn?
yeah, it was the
happening?
day after, and then you asked.
Okay.
We did the round. Do the Oilers make the playoffs? And I think I gave the wrong answer. Thank you.
That's okay, Tom. I quit on the team, and I also declared the season dead and over on November 9th when they lost to San Jose at 2-9-1. So I'm eating my words.
So it would have been, probably, it was right after that when I
Yeah.
was on. And they did the coaching change and the uncertainty around that.
That's right. So it was the Monday after
It was
the
the Monday
coaching
after
change.
the coaching change. Yeah.
Is there worry for tonight with the Detroit Red Wings?
I want to pass that on to Gager because he filled in for Cass the other night on pre and post game with me. And Gager, you said some things on the post game that I feel I am in total agreement with you. You're talking about some of the subtle things that they were doing in that game, specifically in the first period, where you're like, uh-oh, this isn't going the right way. I don't like how this is shaping up. Two things stood out to me about what you said. Darnell Nurse's slide, which led to the Dickinson goal. And then in the third period late, when they were trying to hold that lead, they had the goalie pulled, Chicago did, with a couple minutes left. And you said, if I was in net that night and I was in Stuart Skinner's position, I would be absolutely livid and furious with the guys in front of me. I think those are 2 points that I think to myself, if they don't clean that up, they might be in trouble tonight.
Yeah, I do think they're in trouble tonight. The level of play has been dropping off, I would say, the last 3 games. I'd be upset. I'd be livid, but I'd be upset with the team because of we're trying to keep this streak going.
Yeah.
And we're not giving ourselves the best chance to win by trying to get an empty net goal late in the game. It didn't make any sense to me. The passing coming out of their own end, the distance between defenseman and forward on breakout is getting to that stretch pass of 70 feet. Once again, you're not seeing one of the coolest things I think Nobla has implemented is that little middle pass, that getting low support and coming out as a cohesive unit. I see a lot of little things that start creeping into your game. The corners are being cut a little bit from what they were able to do against the Rangers and the Kings, and even to a lesser extent the Sharks and the Anaheim game, where they just dominated. But that was because the attention to detail of the little things of their game was so precise. It's natural, I think, at times when things are going well, you start getting away from some things are just going so well for you. You get away from the little things that make you successful. And I think if that's not corrected tonight, they're going to lose.
Mm-hmm. I was going to ask you, when you're on a big heater like this, that attention to detail, does it wane? Like, now we've won 8 straight. I don't want to say a professional athlete that's paid to win, that wants to win, has in the back of their mind, it's okay if we lose tonight. But is that just a natural thing to happen? And is that where the attention to detail is going? Or is it just, this is Chicago, this is a team that is largely an AHL team, and we can beat them, and they didn't take them seriously? Like, this is Mike Tyson, Buster Douglas, right?
There is a little bit of that. Like, just like being in the tank, sometimes you just need a little bounce to get things going. It can be the same way as when you're winning as well. One thing little goes wrong. That's why I allude to the Darnell Nurse slide, because he made like 5 great plays, and doing that before at a play that I hate, but it just takes that one little thing. Oh God, that didn't work this time. I got to do, and it changes your outlook of the game, and maybe you start doing things that essentially just were the things that didn't make you successful before, right? Yeah. So it can be just the smallest thing that ruins that kind of streak. But yeah, once you're in it, it's just like we'll say golf. When you play a lot of golf and you get your swing to a spot and you're feeling really good about yourself, and then just one little I'll try this, and then everything kind of just snowballs.
Yeah.
Goaltending is, I refer to goaltending this a bit. It's like just trying not to create bad habits, right? And you try to keep the level of play or your game at a certain level where you're not having those bad habits creep in. And I've just seen 1, 2, 3 each game. There's a couple little things that bad habits are starting to creep into the Oilers game a little bit. So they can get it back, obviously.
Yeah.
I do think it depends on the type of team they're playing against that can bring that back a little bit. Tonight's one of those games. I think Detroit's going to be, they've won 3 in a row here, I believe. So they're feeling a little bit better about themselves. And they want to wreck it. Right?
Yeah.
Like that old...
like, who do they get next? Who do the Oilers get next after Detroit?
Montreal
at home.
Montreal at home.
5 o'clock on Saturday.
And then Seattle, right? So
Seattle, And Toronto, then Seattle.
First. Toronto, then
Seattle. Okay, so this is... Because I was asking that because as a goalie, Cal Pickard, it's confirmed he's going tonight? Is it? Yeah. Is that... As a goalie, as say you're Stuart Skinner, and after the effort that the team put in front of you last game, would you prefer the Oilers put Skinner in tonight to have a better effort in front of them, get that feel again, or any concern about Cal Pickard going? Pickard's played fine.
Yeah.
And this is nothing against Calvin Pickard, but this is just as a try to get the team's mindset into, no, let's go get this one.
As a goalie, no, like you want to play every game.
Yes, obviously.
I think I like how, like, we all thought that Pickard would play against Chicago, I think, both times, right? But sometimes I told you this, Tommy, sometimes playing against a higher caliber team means more to your confidence than playing against a bottom feeder. And this is an important game. As a coaching staff and as a goalie, you're putting trust in that guy to get you the win. And he's going to need to play. And I love his game so far. He's provided, like, for a backup goalie in Edmonton that we haven't been talking about and needing another one. Like, we haven't talked about getting another guy in here really to the extent that we were at the beginning of the season. I know they say we still need that solid, but I don't know who that guy is. I think Pickard's the guy, to tell you the truth. You got a guy in the minors that's lighting it up too, right?
And honestly, and let's go back to the playoffs last year. It doesn't matter who they get as a backup. They're not going to get someone that they're going to start over Stuart Skinner in the playoffs, right? So Calvin Pickard's fine. He's not going to start a playoff game. If Skinner's having a bad game, they got to put him in. That's fine. Skinner's starting the next game anyway. I agree with you. Their powder has to stay dry on the goalie now that seems to have figured itself out and go elsewhere on this team.
Nice low tide reference. Lotad loves saying that one.
Oh, does it powder dry?
Oh, he loves that one there.
Yeah.
Yeah. I want to get to the Mark Spector piece with Leon Draisaitl and actually steal a question from 3 Questions Too Many from the morning show today. Leon Draisaitl had to sit down with Mark Spector where he said, quote, "We have a lot of success together when it comes to talking about a contract and a package deal with McDavid. We had a lot of success there, and we'd like to have more success as a team, of course. I'm sure at some point there's going to be a conversation, but at the end of the day, he's going to do what's best for him. I'm going to do what's best for me." Caused some Oiler fans to be alarmed.
No way.
Over the last 12 hours or so, 18 hours of is Draisaitl going to stay or go? What's going to happen? The question that I'm steal from 3 Questions Too Many today was, at what point are you concerned? When would you be concerned of whether Leon Draisaitl is going to stay or not?
I'm going to come at this 2 different ways. I'm going to come at this first as an Oilers fan who grew up here and loved those late 80s, early and through the 90s teams and watched all our best players leave. Right, and wearing the scars of Doug Weight leaving, wearing the scars of having to trade Bill Guerin away, wearing the scars of Messier being traded, right? All of that. So the Oiler fan in me that grew up with that goes, here it comes again. Now, as the taking a step back 10,000 feet, when do you get concerned? You get concerned when it becomes a distraction. It's not a distraction in the room right now. It's not going to have any impact on this team. When it becomes a distraction is if he doesn't sign a contract next summer and we come into training camp and all training camp is, what about Leon Draisaitl? And it creates great big distraction around the team and around everything that's going on. And I don't want to say it would cause a stumble at the start of the season, but it would put attention somewhere where it doesn't need to be. If they win the cup this year, whatever, it all goes away. But if they don't win the cup and he hasn't signed in August 1st and they get that done, that's when I get concerned, because that's when it becomes a distraction.
Yeah, I mean, a lot depends on the success of this year, right? If they don't win, I think Leon Draisaitl cares more about winning than monetary gain. But saying that, he also, we didn't like the contract when he signed at the beginning, but that is probably the best value contract in the NHL right now, right? So he is going to get a pay increase for sure. A Canadian market, if they don't win the cup this year, and they go into next season without him signing, that is going to be the narrative. Yeah. And we see what happened in Toronto. That's all they talked about with Slick Willie there.
That will happen here.
That'll be exactly the same, right? So, I think a lot. It depends, and then it depends on how well the team's doing. How do they have another shot? What does it look like for the future? Does Leon want to try, test the waters, go somewhere else and see? There's always that possibility. It's really hard to know, but like you said, it's a nothing burger now. But we'll see come playoffs, because as soon as the Oilers are done this season, that is going to be the main topic for the next few months.
Well, part of it why it's also a nothing burger is he literally can't sign a contract right now.
No.
Yeah.
It can't be done until July 1. So there's no point for people to really be concerned.
Yeah.
I would have concern as of September 1 or whatever if he hasn't signed. Because can you allow Leon to test the waters of free agency?
Steven Stamkos did it.
But can you, as a franchise, because then you got to sign McDavid and stuff, can you allow Leon to just walk and get nothing for him? Or do you have to have a full thing have that sorted out with him, whether are you staying or are you not? And if he's not, making a move to bring some pieces in so that you stay as a winning hockey team so you keep McDavid.
This is pretty simple. This is pretty simple. I'm just going to lay it out here. You pay him more than Austin Matthews, okay? That's where it starts. Matthews, 13.25 or whatever it is. Yeah. Leon Draisaitl is a better all-around player than Austin Matthews. Leon Draisaitl wants to be paid and recognized as a better player than Austin Matthews. He will temporarily be the highest paid player in the NHL. He'll be content. That's the big uptick he'll get in salary. Hang on. Then you have to worry about the cap. That's why I'm saying they don't want any dead cap space. You find a way to get rid of Jack Campbell's contract without being penalized with dead cap space. You might have to move on from a guy like Evander Kane. Yes, the cap does go up. That's how simple it is, because he does want to win, like Gager said. He does want to do it with his very, 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 very close friends and Connor McDavid and Darnell Nurse and Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. He wants to get that bread. Okay, so you do that. When McDavid's contract comes up, it's a blank check. You figure it out. Mm-hmm. That's how you do it. Now, you don't go, well, the team's going to be missing this, and they're going to be missing that, and they're going to need bottom six guys. Yeah, but do you want Leon Draisaitl and Connor McDavid? It's that. Yeah. Simple as that.
But that's not the question.
Okay,
the question
I want to get that off my chest.
When would you be worried if you're an Oiler fan that Leon might not resign?
At some point next season.
Somebody said it was, I think on the morning show, they texted in saying July 1st, 2025. Yeah. Next free agency when it opens. That's when they will get concerned type thing.
Yeah.
And then that's where the question though is, like, because I agree with you entirely.
You know what's going to happen too?
You give him the money, you sign him, you get it done. I think it would be. But if the Oilers can't get it, because it seems that simple. If the Oilers can't get it done in 2 months through July and August, is it then that simple?
Unless negotiations, like if they're smooth right off the bat when they finally get going and those conversations are cordial and there's a good line of communication the whole way through, then I think, we can breathe easy as oil country, and that's media, team, and fan base alike. Now, do I think if there's hardball being played, do I think Leon Draisaitl is going to take a hometown discount? Do I think he's going to be like, I want to stay here, I want to stay? I think he's going to play it as meticulously as he possibly can to get the best contract for himself.
I don't think the Oilers could also ask for a hometown discount.
There is no
while
hometown
he didn't get a hometown discount when the contract was signed, as you pointed out, Gager was higher. It ended up becoming a hometown discount.
Yeah.
That I don't think if the Oilers, you could actually go to him and be like, well, could we keep an extra $2 million to help this team? I don't think you could do that with Leon.
He's going to do everything. His side is going to play this to a T to get the best possible contract for himself long term.
Adding to all this is who is on the Oilers side doing the negotiating? Is it?
That's a great question.
Right?
Probably Jeff Jackson.
Is it Jeff Jackson?
Probably, yes.
They have to answer the GM question prior to July 1st.
Right.
It's not going to be Ken Holland.
But it's not. So let's think. Who's it going to be?
It's going to be Jeff Jackson.
Yeah.
And then maybe whoever they bring in as the GM.
Yeah.
Maybe.
If the Oilers go on a long Stanley Cup run, it's a very short window between the Cup and the draft.
Yeah.
When do the Oilers actually have to start thoroughly figuring out the GM and get going on that?
Right
do you
now.
Do you wait?
Right
do you
now.
do that
now.
after?
Right now.
This has to be. This has. I haven't asked, but I'm sure it's something that's already on the big board in Jeff Jackson's office. The other one that I'm going to say who gets in on the negotiations, Daryl Cates will get in on the negotiations.
Really? You think?
Yes, 100%.
Oh, Jesus.
If you're a star player, wouldn't you want to hear from the owner? If you're one of the top players in the game, wouldn't you want the owner involved?
Oh, top players in the game?
Yeah.
God, that much power. That's
It's going to be.
I'd be drunk.
I've watched you since you were a kid. I've known you since you were a kid.
Yeah.
I'm opening up the bank for you.
Here's what I can do
believe
for
in
you.
I want you
off
3.
ice.
Yeah.
That's off the books type thing.
Yeah.
Those promises.
Yeah. I there was a thing, I think it was Paul Bissonnette said something that I kind of agree with. He said he made reference to the Miami Heat coach that just
Spoelstra.
like $100 million, right?
Yeah,
so
120.
It's ridiculous. And then he was saying, how is Connor McDavid not even close to that kind of number. Who knows what it's?
TV deals.
But
Yes, league
he said that there should be a one player, a franchise tag that doesn't count against the cap.
That NBA salary cap. I mean, I love the NBA. I love all the trades. I love all the signings of that. Like you get me to explain what a mid-level exception is?
Yeah.
Do we have one? Okay, well, let's use that one. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know what's crazy about the Heat extension of Spoelstra? It came out yesterday. They signed that and waited to announce it until his divorce was finalized, so his ex-wife would get none of it.
Jeez.
Like there's a culture inside the Miami.
wow.
That's Pat Riley
That's
being
Pat
Pat Riley going, yeah, like we've got this done. But yeah, let's hold off a little bit. Let's make sure that's done for you, and you get your 120 all for yourself.
Yeah.
There's numerous times that I've heard that happen in the NHL.
Oh, yeah?
too. Oh yeah. I'll tell you the names after.
I don't need that's doing a player or a coach a solid right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
Wow.
yeah, and that was the whole thing. She actually had to like respond to it yesterday because all the fans were trying to troll her, which I don't know if you have to go do that, but yeah, they waited till after his divorce was finalized to give him the full 120 mil.
Wonder if her lawyers will have something to say about that, though.
I would think that now that there's
right,
all this
like
buzz
that's-
and people are going, you waited.
Yeah.
There's
Like,
going to
if
be.
it's out there that you,
They'll try to claw some of it.
Yeah.
His lawyers ironcladded that thing though, that she can't. That's it. Yeah, that's 120 million, and in Miami too. That's a lot of dough.
Yeah.
because they were making the comparison that Kachuk actually makes more than Nylander does playing in Toronto, right? Because of the taxes.
Flip side to that, though, is Nylander would have to convert his money to live in Canada to pay for Canadian dollars, and he'd have more money. People don't always look at that part of it. Where you're living at that time.
On
the U.S. salary part.
Yeah.
But Kachuk still has to live in Miami, and he would have his money, and Nylander would have to live in Toronto, and he'd actually have the Canadian dollars with where it is, and it goes back up.
Goes a little bit further.
neither of them are hurting.
No,
They'll be all right.
they are
They'll
not.
be okay.
Yeah.
They are not.
Yeah.
But I agree with Tommy that I think it gets done.
Yeah.
But I would be concerned that it's not getting done as of the start of September, because then I would, if I'm whoever the GM is of the team, the Oilers and Jeff Jackson, I think you do have to consider potentially trading him.
Well, if you have to have all plan A, B, C, and D,
Yeah.
of course. And that's just being ready for any scenario to play out. But yeah, it's going to cause stress. This is the first one to start, or even more so, put some spotlight on it.
But I don't even think he said anything. Like, he has
didn't
to say this.
No, but it.
What else is he going to say?
People read between the lines.
But did he
People
say
this,
the words, I would love to stay in Edmonton for my entire career? And that's what the fans would be looking for.
Exactly.
And that
They're-
didn't come out. He said, I got to do what's best for me. And that's what causes the anxiety.
And why? Where Leon's
Businessman.
smart to not do that for two reasons. One, negotiations. You don't make that
Oh,
simpler.
yeah. There's a clear reason for
And
it.
two, if you ultimately do leave, because you have to, because all of a sudden the Oilers are saying, yeah, we're not paying you that. We're only going to pay you 10 mil.
Yeah.
We're not going to, they're really playing hardball.
Yeah.
Then, Kyrie Irving was the guy that I think said in Boston, I want to play here forever. I'm going to stay.
Oh,
and then he left in free agency. And it was just like, well, they went back on his words and like, well, you said this a year ago. Leon doesn't want to do that, where all of a sudden everyone's pointing back and going, but you said this.
Don't ever say that if you want negotiations or potential negotiations that are upcoming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's what fans are looking for. So that's where the stress
They
comes
need
from.
reassurances. Yeah.
So-
Not going to get it.
I am not committed to Edmonton sports talk for the rest of my life.
I fully understand. It hurts, but I understand.
We'll see. That's how it goes. Dusty's listening somewhere. I think we got to have those conversations at some point.
You want some bands and some honey buns at some point. I get it.
You have to say the same thing. We just have to all go in.
Yep, exactly. I got to look out for what's best for Tom.
It will all be fine in the end.
Yeah.
If the Leafs could get all four of their guys locked in, the Oilers are going to be able to find to get two of their guys locked in with Nurse, I guess, three other guys. Hyman and Nuge are on just different deals, different values that I don't put their contracts in there.
Yeah.
And the cap will, it goes up next year. The Oilers don't see the benefit of that.
Yeah.
It will go again up the year after. And that will pay for part of Leon's increase. And then it's going to go up the year after that. And that's going to, McDavid's actually not going to get much of an increase.
I think he gets like 17 or 18 million. I think he resets the bar, yeah. That's my guess.
Sure.
Like listen, we're having this conversation
What's the
2-3
cap
years
going to
from
next
now.
year?
88, 87 and a half.
And what, you could only sign a max? is it
7
20% of the
17 or 20 or something
Yeah,
like that.
yeah, 20.
20 is 17.6.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was just looking at what that money is.
Yeah.
You think he'd go for the full max?
It's
'Cause
again,
he
there's
didn't last
no
time.
hometown discount. It's a league thing. It's a PA thing. It's optics. Sorry, that's just how it is.
Yep. It's for the next guy.
You
It's not
ha-
just for you, it's for the next guy.
Exactly. That's how it works. It sucks, and the fans get upset about it. They go, "How much money do you need?" Well, true, and it's the business side of it, and that's just how it's going, and that's what happens.
Yeah.
Or is he going to be the first Tom Brady who took less? Tom Brady never was the highest paid quarterback in the National Football League. He always
No,
left
the answer
money on the
is
table
no.
to go with Patriots. But McDavid in that first contract he had, he left money.
Shaved off $1 million a year.
Saved.
Great.
So maybe he does another $2 million this one.
Didn't Sidney Crosby take a little bit of a haircut too?
I feel like
and-
him and Malkin took
They-
way
both of
less.
them.
But they
matched,
set the
didn't
rebar. They reset the bar at the same time, right? Which was surpassed by Taze and Kane. Like
So
a
he
year
can
or two
still
later.
set the bar,
Yeah.
but not go all the way to the max.
Okay, maybe he takes $1 million or $2 million off a year. Okay.
Well, but that to me is a hometown discount because Connor McDavid is to me underpaid in hockey.
Yeah.
He should be a bit more, but
Yeah.
he could go get the max. Well, no, he could. He gets the max.
Yes.
But if he gets anything under than the max, it's a hometown discount. That's saving money.
All right. Then he gets the hometown discount. If he's that considerate and kind that he shaves off $1 million or $2 million so you can get a
I'd love it.
fourth line guy, fantastic, like he did last time.
Get 2025
That's
cent
very
on the
nice
day,
of him.
yes.
But he's resetting the bar when his deal's up.
Yeah. He will be the highest paid player and not by an insignificant amount.
Thank you, Tom. Exactly.
Yeah. No, he deserves it. I
Yeah.
mean, he's
Yeah.
by far the best player. So offensively, anyway.
But yeah, that's what I'm just trying to think what that number is because then like the jump from Draisaitl to where he's going is significant.
Yep.
The jump
he'll be-
McDavid,
what
I
do
don't think is like if it's 12 and a half
So Leon
to,
goes up $6-7 million a
to
year.
15
Leon
million
14?
or 16
Yeah.
million,
Yeah.
then it's only 4 million that you're looking at, which could be just the entire cap going up. That all goes to that. That's where I was going with.
Yeah.
It's going up. Leon it's a lot.
Yeah.
That's an entire another 8 million, like almost $7 million player, whatever it's going to be.
How many more years
you're
is the
losing.
Kane deal?
2 after this year.
Oh, okay.
Or
So
wait.
they would
Yeah,
they
it
have
was
1
4
year of
years.
overlap? Yeah.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
because he signed for 4 years.
And, you know, if you can get those two locked up and have a competitive team, like it wasn't the end of the year last year, the first year that every single player said they wanted to come back and play. Like it's amazing when you hear that. But I think you can get maybe some guys that are a little bit more experience that haven't won yet and want to be part of something special.
Yeah.
What do you think about Perry?
That's interesting.
I was waiting for this question to come up
Okay.
this morning. Yeah. And
Kane's got 2 more years, by the way. I just quickly looked it up.
like you get him at no acquisition cost, and I appreciate that. And he's going to be cheap, but again, the headache, the distraction, and I know everything was cleared and all that, but the headache, the distraction. I think there's better options via the trade market that won't bring that distraction.
I just really think you need someone that's done it before.
Yeah,
I like it. I'm not
I like
gonna
it.
lie to you.
yeah,
Like,
I'd like to know what the issue was.
yeah.
And now the Oilers would know.
He got drunk.
Hockey would know.
Yeah.
He got drunk and acted like a jerk.
Right. And look, and Evander Kane has come in and has been fine, and there's been it has not been a just all the
Yeah.
past
By
issues.
all accounts, everything's good.
Cassian came in, was able to kind of get on straight. Right. It's
the most
worked
part,
out
yes.
here, right?
yes.
Public distraction. I should say.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying it couldn't work here, but then again, it's just that
Yeah.
I don't know if he can help it improve the team and win, sure. But are there better options via trade market out there?
The problem with the trade market is then you have to give up an asset.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah.
But if you're upgrading on an asset, right? Or
Sure.
like you bring in Corey Perry, sure, you stick him on your third line, you send down a contract, you're probably saving money in some, depending on what the number is, right? But if you go get who was I thinking of? Like they're looking for a third line. You need a third line center, and Sean Monahan. He's a UFA. His contract is sub $2 million. So when he gets here, there's probably no issue sticking that under the cap, and you send down an Ernie or something like that, right? Does Sean Monahan as your third line center, who wins 57% of his draws, has not had the last 8 weeks off as a 35-year-old. He's in game shape. Does he help you more than Corey Perry coming in and needing 2 weeks to get up to speed and then plugged into the lineup.
That's
And-
a good point, I think.
Right.
If
Yeah.
Perry not playing,
right.
how easy is it to get back going in the NHL?
When you're that old, that's tough. It's a treadmill on 10 trying to jump on, right?
Adam
It's-
Oates came in. Remember that? When
Yeah.
Adam
Oh,
Oates
yeah.
came in, and it was January. And it was like, here we go.
Yeah.
And he taught everyone how to do face-offs. The Oilers were the best face-off team for the next 5 years.
Stoll,
His
yeah.
on-ice stuff, right?
Yeah.
It wasn't there because he hadn't skated in how long, right?
Yeah.
So that's my only concern with Corey. A couple of concerns with Corey. The distraction, he hasn't been playing, and I get that he's done it before, but he's not. I don't see him as the fit that they need. Give me that third line center that can win face-offs and all that fun stuff, and has been going.
Yeah.
That's the fit that they need.
That's logical.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
I don't like it.
Yeah.
You just want the easy answer.
No.
I just want to see Corey Perry like spray the goalie and do everything accidentally and
Sure.
on purpose in an Oilers uniform when it counts. I think there's just not enough of that in the Oilers lineup. And I do like the Monahan thing. I was looking at that too. I think that solidifies I'd worry about, they're both not the fleetest of foot, but when I put them side by side, there's some boxes I think when it matters most that has the other team worried about the player more than they do about the game.
Yep.
Yeah. Rip City Step says, I'm going to read it in this guy's voice. You know who's done it before? Phil Kessel.
Oh, well, at least I'll sell a lot of hot dogs if he sticks around in the summertime.
Oh, thank you, Rip City Step, Phil Kessel. Actually, Jack Eichel did a great Phil Kessel impersonation.
Did he?
On Spit and Chicklets, and I thought it was pretty funny. Good to see some personality. We talked about personality yesterday, selling
Yeah.
the game and all that. Jack Eichel was hilarious, and I thought he was just a dud. But I remember when he came in at the Combine the year him and Connor got drafted, and it was in Buffalo. Connor had his team around him, and obviously protected and very meticulous and thorough in how they handled things, which is smart. But then Jack Eichel just rolls in and just, I'll do the interview. No, don't have to talk to my agent. One-on-one, sure, let's go. I'll go do it. And he just
The guys we love.
didn't care.
right?
Yeah.
But he's just a college kid, too.
Yeah, he
right?
didn't give a crap. He's like, I'll answer whatever
Yeah.
question. Like, no, don't have to give me some pre-questions to vet. He's just fire my way. If I don't like it, I'm not going to answer you.
As a reporter, you search out once you find one, God, you go to them all the time,
Yep.
right? Like it's
Exactly.
just, I had politicians like that, I had
Yep.
business owners like that. I'd like just guy. It was just like, I gotta get some. I'll just give him a call, right?
Yeah.
And just
And hands in his pocket, just casually strolling
chill.
up. All right, let's go. 18 years old. I'm like, this guy, good for him.
confident.
Yeah.
Were politicians easy to get on camera to talk?
depended on the politician,
Yeah.
depended on the day. Yeah, some loved to be on TV. Others hated to be spoken to. I think they all loved not having to face us at inns where they all have to walk down the hallway past all the cameras and newspaper reporters and radio reporters. They always have to kind of go through that, and you just step in front of them and ask them questions. During the pandemic, they didn't have to do that. You had to call them. And I didn't get your call, right? Through their press secretaries, right? Sorry we didn't see it, or he's not available today, right? But it was some love to be on TV. I remember Thomas Lukacic used to walk back and forth until one of us would interview him. It was like, hey,
No
we don't
way.
need you today, man. Yeah. But so,
What about like I only dealt with politics very briefly in Lloydminster, and they would just vote conservative every year.
Yeah.
What about like backbenchers that never get any actual limelight? And for the local,
no, they'd be interviewed by local folks, but no. The only time you speak with backbenchers is when there's some leadership contest going on, or there's some internal strife happening.
Yeah.
And they're trying to position themselves
Yeah.
to either take a jump up or push out this guy because they've got that person. Right. But other than that, no.
Some of them, man, like
Yeah.
when I got to Lloyd, I was told about, because we covered the Lakeland region, Lloyd, we went even as far east as the Battlefords in Saskatchewan, and Courtney Terrio was giving me the rundown on each a guy and or politician that had been around there and like why nobody's challenging them. And I was just like, oh, these guys all have it on cruise control.
Yeah.
And they're like, yeah, they've all been in there for like 20 years and they just get voted back in. It's because they're conservative. I was like, why am I even interviewing them? He's like, we have to.
Yep.
We have to.
That
I'm like,
local
okay.
perspective. Yeah.
Yeah.
You missed those days?
No.
You missed your political
Not
days?
at all. I was like,
You
this
eager
is
to get
depressing. Like, and I commend guys like Tom and the men and women who do it. It is entertaining in some aspect. Canadian politics is so dry compared to American. Like,
Which is a
Not
good thing in
Alberta.
a way.
Yeah.
Alberta is.
We had more premiers than Oiler coaches here for a
Yeah,
while,
man,
right? Like, it
like-
was.
I look at some of the stuff going on in our province, and I'm just
Yeah.
like, whoa, okay, no, thank you.
Did you like talking to the media? Or did it depend, game, all that? Like, like, is it a chore for a player to have to go talk to the media, or like, or does it depend on the player and stuff?
No, it's. I mean, it's tough because sometimes after a game, you're so fired up.
Yeah.
You know, some of the questions that are asked that are repetitive get a little bit annoying, and of course, they're even more annoying because maybe things didn't go the right way, or you're still fired up about something. I had never. Well, most of the guys that I talked to was just in passing, and they'd sit down and wait to talk to the big dogs. So that were my conversations with them. I didn't like the how some questions were phrased. I thought there could have been a better job of phrasing certain things. But no, I found, and I told the stories of on the plane and some of the guys how they treated back in the day. But no, it was fine for me. I didn't have any trouble talking to anybody.
Did it matter to you, or I don't even know if this was a thing for then, like between a one-on-one interview or a scrum? Did it affect you in a different way at all, or is it all still the same?
It's all the same.
Yeah.
Yeah. One-on-one, I did I preferred if it was just me and a guy talking, because you're kind of, you're looking everywhere, and not that it happened a lot with me, but when I did play, there'd be guys around and Al asking you questions, and it was hard you were just trying to be thoughtful and say something quick without trying to say the same things over and over. Essentially.
We got a text from Pat in the county for you specifically.
Oh, God.
780-218-9999. Gager, serious question. How many friends do you have? You're just so damn likable. Pat in the county with that one.
Well, he just made the list.
List, dude.
I don't know why. I don't know how I'm coming across so likable, because maybe I should. You should have a little conversation with my wife, and then we'll see from there.
Good morning, Megan.
Is your Wikipedia page changed?
Probably people are updating that like every 5 minutes.
Wasn't it? Didn't I hear Dusty saying on Two Guys a couple days ago?
Are you neighbors with Cisco?
It doesn't look like there's anything here anymore.
No.
There was a F1 change made to his thing. A disgraced commissioner, I believe.
Yeah, I think that was in there too.
It's gone. You're good.
Damn.
Well, you took it down. That's
Was
good.
it not verified?
I have no idea. I wonder if I think you could go see the history. I'll have to look later. Yeah.
That's hilarious.
You're all
That's
good
funny.
now.
That's
That's all
good.
clear. It doesn't say anything about being a hot takes judge, though.
Oh, not yet. Okay.
No. By the way, we actually haven't mentioned, you've got slippers here, which full credit to you for bringing slippers and throwing those on. They look very cozy.
Oh, they're real cozy.
And with the weather being what they are outside right now, like it feels right.
Yeah, no,
I'm jealous.
Yeah, well, I'm sure everyone will start bringing in their slippers.
No.
And
Did you wear boots here? Like, is that like
Yeah,
you
I
just
got
want to
shoes
clunk
here.
around? Oh, shoes.
yeah, I got
Oh.
shoes, but there was snow on them, and I just
Yeah.
thought, well, I don't want to get the carpets wet.
You're more respectful than all of us that are here every day.
Yeah. He's really settled in. That's what I appreciate. I
So
like
that's
it.
why I'm so likable. I just
Yeah.
kind of moved in. I reorganized the fridge and things.
People
and,
show up to pick stuff up, contest prizes. And, hey, is that Joaquin Gage on the
Yeah.
couch sleeping? It is. Shh.
I do. I like it's a comfortable spot. Like it's,
I know.
it's great. Like when you're in here, I'm thinking I'm at home watching the game, and I was like, maybe I should just go watch the game with Tommy.
You should. We're going to be doing it tonight.
Yeah. So I got work.
Do you just watch right there in the?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, because
that's
away
a
games we do
comfortable
from
setup
the studio here.
Yeah.
Home games because I need to be at the rink. I
Yeah.
do from the satellite studios, aka my office den in
Yeah.
our building, which is across from the arena. And
I listen on the phone. I don't see it. Like I'm not the YouTube.
oh,
Yeah, so
you're not in the nasty chat yet.
Yeah, because I have it in my car. I got a new car where my phone just starts playing
Nice.
magically to it.
Perfect.
So it's just I'm on the phone now. It's
Perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, it works out really good. The versatility where we can do the shows from
Yeah.
is awesome. Now, remember that big case I had to carry around when we were on a remote? Oh my
Look like
God.
I thought you were a sniper, like taking in the sniper rifle
Yeah.
case.
Our kit's still pretty big.
It
Said
is.
that. It
yeah,
is still
that
pretty
is
big. Not
true.
like that.
Not like that. That was like
Portion of this hour brought to you by the Hive Product Marketing. If you're looking for some promotional products for your business or yourself even, official merch partner of Edmonton Sports Talk is the Hive Product Marketing. Promotional products that bring the buzz. Check them out at thehiveproductmarketing.com. I was mentioning the RV Wars from Arcan RV earlier. Dusty mentioned it earlier about us taking on the show.
I like this.
And we want to take the show on the Hen Day. Or the whole station on the Hen Day.
I like this.
I was
Take it to an
on the Hen
RV.
Day listening to this. That sounds like a great idea.
Yeah.
Pick up who we need to pick up for shows,
Yeah.
and just spend 6 to 1 driving around the Hen Day.
Cousin
Doing a
Eddie.
show.
No number 2s in the RV.
Yeah, oh gosh. no.
Who has to hold the hose
Yeah,
after? Right?
get the rubber sheets out.
Murray McCourt from the ranch, they have Starlink out there, and it's a good internet.
Really?
So, like, if that gets going, like, I think we would have no issues, and we'd be able to just drive around the Hen Day all day. And
Yes. We need to get Murdoch in here soon. I miss
he's
him.
back in next week.
Perfect. Okay, good.
Yes.
Good.
Yeah.
Let's do it. If they're up for it, let's do it, man.
Just
That'd be
technically
awesome.
got to make sure it works. And then,
Yeah.
It's
That's
it would
fun.
be something really weird and different.
You ever taken an RV and like driven around in one?
Never been in an RV, only trailers.
Okay.
Which isn't the same, obviously.
Not the same. I always wanted to we were going out to the coast one year, and my wife and I, we went to see if we could just rent one, and just we had the young kids, and we'll rent. It was more expensive to do that than fly. It was pretty bad, so it was that we didn't do it. But one day I think it would be great. The kids are a little bit older now, though. So
The only time I've ever driven an RV, it was during the Fort McMurray wildfire, and I was going up to go report, and I was going to Lac La Biche, but they needed an RV taken up there because all the reporters were sleeping in the news vehicles, right? It's like, sure, whatever, I'll drive it up. I'm driving. I drink a lot of Coke Zero. I had about 3, and I was like, gotta go to the bathroom. And I don't know if you've ever been to Fort McMurray, but there's nothing on the way, right?
Yeah.
It's like, I've got a bathroom with me. Like, it's just like you've got a built-in bathroom. You sit down, take a break if it's a long drive. Yeah, it's pretty
Interesting.
convenient. Yeah.
He's giggling.
God,
VR Montenegro text in saying the Wikipedia is updated.
Oh, nice. I remember that
there's
made
a
me
lot.
think of a story. Brian Patafi, he was an old trainer, I think for the Flames for a little bit. He was in Chilliwack. He's quit now. He's a stand-up comedian. If it comes to Edmonton, you should go see this guy. He's quite funny. He's kind of a jolly guy, short, stocky, big belly, but he would do some of the craziest things as a trainer that he would do in his real life as well. Like I remember we'd be going out for a game, and someone would say, "Oh, can you sharpen my skates?" And so we go, "Yeah." He'd grab them, and he'd be in a hurry, and he'd go sharpen the skates, but then he would come back completely buck naked with the skates and hand them to the guy. It was so funny to see. And one time we were in the tour bus driving, right? It's dead at night, sleep. And I couldn't sleep. I got up and I walked and I looked down, and the bus driver is sleeping in the car.
Oh, no.
And I'm like, what the hell? And I run up to the front, and there's Pataf driving the thing. And I'm like, Pataf, can you do this? He goes, yeah, he wanted to have a nap. I always wanted to do this.
Oh, no.
And I'm like, you got to be kidding me. And this bus driver was something. Like, he had stories from rock. Like, he took some rock bands and stuff I can't repeat on here. I'll tell you later. But he would just stop at a truck stop and just start talking to truckers. And Dan Weeb, actually, he's from here. He was an old U of A grad. I think he played for the U of A hockey. Anyways, I remember Dan said, he goes, we got to get going. Like, we got a game tomorrow. We got to get into the next spot. And Pataf, he goes, don't worry, coach. I got this. And there's all these truckers outside talking to our bus driver. This is his first time taking a hockey team, so he doesn't know the ramifications of how we got to get to places.
Yeah.
He proceeds to Taft took off all his clothes a lot, but he took off all his clothes on the bus, walked out, and it's a short little stubby guy, and started doing like stretches and like warm-ups, like with high knees and stuff in front of these truckers. And we were all watching this happen, and you should have seen the looks on these guys. And like one guy dropped his soda, and then the bus driver goes, I guess I better go.
You think?
And then we got back on the bus. But just one of the funniest trainers ever. Talks with a lisp. It was a great guy. Brian Patafi. He made the days on those long trips a little bit easier.
Oh my God. Eden wants to know if and when. Speaking of the Hive, when will we have more merch? That's your thing.
Well, we have some merch we could put up for sale soon. We have some extra stock. Additional merch, new merch, that still has to be determined. Not right now it's in the plans in terms of in the brain. It hasn't been actually fleshed out. I haven't sat down and actually thought about what we're going to do next or things like that.
Because there's a lot of options. Like we can curate this, or you can with Chelsea from the Hive.
The Hive has so many things that you can do. The only thing that they didn't have at the time, we looked into tearaway pants.
I do not.
We looked into that, which I did.
Of course, you guys did.
I did see recently this week that apparently tearaways are making a comeback.
Oh. Is that what Pataf would wear? Would they be tearaways? Would they be?
No, it was full tracksuit.
So that was but Chelsea did say that if she looked deeper, she might be able to find something. So
you and
they have a lot
up,
at the Hive. But yeah, no, I have some other plans that I have to work on first, and then focus on the next merch stuff. So
someone's yelling at us on the text line, all caps. We want merch. More merch.
Gager's Wikipedia page, the VR Montenegro's added a lot to you.
Wow.
Yeah,
So it includes Commonwealth Stadium's premier winger slinger. He will feed you the meat.
Sweet.
It also a former cable guy, to quote Chip Douglas, free cable is the ultimate aphrodisiac. It does say disgraced commissioner of a second-rate F1 fantasy league and denier of a well-earned constructors championship to one Matt Cassian. I don't know why he's calling you a second-rate league, though.
Boy.
He must have a league or something.
Maybe. No, he's not joining ours.
Jasmine considers you a friend. You're very nice.
Well, thank you, Jasmine. She's great, too.
She's great. Yeah. Good
Wonderful.
show today.
That's it for the Hangout. Coming up next will be the Lock Shop with Dusty and Huss. And then you're back with two guys and a goalie. Is Cassian? Do you know?
We'll see.
No.
No.
Do you want to do pre and post tonight?
Am I
If he's
doing it
not,
again? Okay, yeah, I guess.
He's still out?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's out.
Okay. Well, then one guy. And
One
a
guy
goalie.
and a goalie. Yeah.
You guys will be on at noon. Tom, what do you have got going on today besides trying to stay warm? And
Yeah, I got a big meeting at 11:30. I'm going to go find a spot to do. Yeah, virtual. And then, I got work to do. I'm speaking
And then watch a
notes
game tonight?
And then watch a game tonight. Yeah. Oh, it's an early start.
Five.
I've got two young kids.
Ooh.
Yeah, I won't see seeing the game tonight.
It's good to have another Tom in here. I'm not going to lie to you.
It's been fun to be here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A little
Tom,
extra swagger.
thanks for coming in once
Thanks for
again.
having
We'll
me.
have you back. Gager, have fun on two guys.
do
Enjoy
my
those
best.
comfy shoes.
I will.
Slippers, and I'm jealous. Tommy, good work today.
Thank you. You
Fantastic.
too, Matthew.
On behalf of Tom and Joaquin, I'm Matt. Thanks for tuning into the EST Hangout presented by Mott's Clamato Caesar. Up next, it is the Lock Shop with Dusty and Huss coming up here on Edmonton Sports Talk and EdmontonSportsTalk.com.
Good show, guys. That was a lot of fun.
That was fun. Thanks for having me in.